Hey everybody, decided to make this video because after my last video on Volibear, a lot of you guys asked me to make more videos like that, and that content was great. I hadn't made videos like that because I actually kind of find it lazy, and in a way I'm kind of embarrassed to just do low quality video. When other YouTubers are putting out such high quality videos, I'm just sort of like looking at this and telling you guys stuff, but there does seem to be a lack of content for top laners out there, so I decided, here we go, we're gonna do a video on Sett. Basically, we're going over Sett's item build. Why does he build some items? Is Blade of the Ruined King good on him now after the buffs? What's changed with the recent item update? So, looking into Sett, there's some key things we should find here. 1, Gore Drinker is still his best mythic. 2, Blade of the Ruined King is not performing as well as some of you guys thought it was going to, but it does perform decently as like an option. And 3, most importantly, hey everybody, if you could please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment based on your feedback, that would be most appreciated. It helps me immensely and allows me to continue to make these sorts of videos. Gore Drinker Styrax Titanic Hydra is still his default best build, unfortunately, which means that, as we've seen here, if his best build is a build that's been nerfed, his win rate is going down pretty far. Sett is one of the most popular champions in the game. He's even with his win rate pretty much lower, he's still the second highest picked champion across all ranks, which means he's doing something right. People enjoy playing this champion, and that's fine if you enjoy playing Sett. Garen's obviously picked more because Garen's just much stronger across all ranks, but Sett's right up there at a pretty high pick rate. So I decided, let's go over Sett, let's talk about him, let's talk about his items and why he builds them. Because a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, some of you tend to just sort of play champions, and that's what you do. You just sort of play a champion, and you don't really know why you're doing something, you just know that you are doing it. So for Sett, Ignite is doing decently, but in a matchup you can't win, obviously you go teleport. That's pretty much true for every champion these days. For runes, Lethal Tempo is doing somewhat okay. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really the biggest enjoyer of the Lethal Tempo on Sett. It's an option, it's definitely an option. You can see it's got a much lower pick rate and win rate. At the higher ranks, at the lower ranks it has a slightly higher win rate, but much lower pick rate. So it's an option, but I think you would need to be very sparse with it. You would need it for extremely specific situations where all you're gonna do is sit in melee and beat someone down. Okay, for runes you've got Triumph, Legend Tenacity, Last Stand. Those are good. A lot of people go Legend Alacrity. Over here, once again, we've got the same thing most bruisers do: Second Wind or Bone Plating. Second Wind if you're gonna get poked, Bone Plating if you're going for the all-in. Unflinching is really good. Overgrowth is it's a little bit underrated. I find it's not the best. I definitely don't enjoy Revitalize, so don't go Revitalize. If you're gonna go Revitalize, go Overgrowth. Attack speed, damage, armor, magic resist, depending on what you need, but this is probably going to be your default look. Unflinching is pretty good for champions like Sett because, well, obviously when you're Sett, you want to be able to get into range, and tenacity and slow resist help you get into range. So that's generally, this is going to be your build. The good, the attack speed's good, triumph's good, all these things are good. So let's, oh, I forgot to go into his skins. I actually hate most of Sett's skins. I'm using the Obsidian Dragon Sett Prestige Edition. I don't really think it looks that good. I'm gonna be honest, I definitely think Sett's one of those champions who the base model is the best one for him. Yeah. So, items. Let's, oh, actually, I'm gonna go over one thing real quickly first here. I totally forgot to go over this. Why is Sett building the way he is? Well, if we look into the patch history, so last season, they did a change here. Let me highlight this. They doubled the AD ratio on his W, and they increased the AD ratio on his ult to 1.2 from 1.0. Small little fact, before they did this change, his ult didn't even list an AD ratio. This was more of a recent change. What are you doing? Get out of there. This is more of a recent change. They even listed that it had an AD ratio. Really weird, really weird. But now it's got a 1.2 AD ratio. So the AD ratio on the W was doubled from 0.1 to 0.2. Now, what people don't know about Sett's W is that it doesn't directly convert AD into damage. Instead, The little bar under Set is how much grit he has stored. That's how much damage he's taken. He can take up to half his health in grit. Now, that will never change. He can always take up to half his health in grit. When you press W, you're converting all your stored grit into a shield, and then you're dealing damage based on that shield, plus a flat amount, based on your AD ratio. So you can see right now, it's 25% flat, and then your AD ratio helps convert that shield into damage, potentially true damage. So Set has a thing where the more health he has, the more grit he can store, and the more damage he has, the more he can convert that grit into damage, into true damage. So Set as a champion loves health and he loves damage, which is where this build comes from. So despite it being nerfed, and let's be fair, I think Set will probably get buffed here soon. He's kind of been chased around item to item. He doesn't really have a good build anymore. Doran's Blade or Doran's Shield, that really depends on, you know, what you're trying to do. Are you trying to survive? Or are you trying to burst someone down? Well, there you go. Doran's Shield is pretty underrated, I'll say, by the way. So, Blade Runner King or Gore Drinker, personal opinion, I think Gore Drinker Rush is pretty much better in every situation. Even if you're ahead, Gore Drinker tends to be pretty good. It's got a good build order these days with the whip is good, Warhammer is good, Kindle Gems, I mean, it's health, it's good for you. So Gore Drinker gives you a chunk of damage and a chunk of health. So you can see here, my grit here is gone up. Okay, you know what, let me actually, I'm gonna undo this. You can see right now I'm doing 172 true damage at max. Once I build this, I'm up to 267 true damage at max because we build health and we build damage. Once we build, I'll just build boots here and we build Starrick's Gauge second. Now Starrick's Gauge on Set tends to be pretty good because he runs in, he gets burst, he uses W. You can see up here, we're already up to 376 true damage max. So as you can see, this item, we even with its low, because we're very early in the game, so it's only giving 24 bonus attack damage, right? Even though that item isn't really giving that much damage, you can see the amount we're multiplying here. We're going up a hunk of damage already. Now once you stack up that Conqueror, that's going to convert even more in. And then lastly, you got the Titanic Hydra. This is pretty much the core build here, and we're up to 588 true damage. That's a lot of damage. Potentially another 80 once you max the ability, and even more when you have Conqueror stack. So that's why Set builds the way he does, because his W double scales. It's pretty good. So for Set, now I probably should have done this beforehand. For Set, let's level up here. At level 1, despite what I just did, don't pay attention to me. Do what I say, not what I do. For level 1 Set, you're probably going to want to get your E, because remember, level 1 Set already has his passive hits, and if I could, I'm gonna sell this stuff so you guys get a better picture of level 1 Set. Actually, I'm gonna sell everything just so you guys don't think he has boots at level 1. So we can see here at level 1 Set's got his right click, which does damage. Now his right punch does more damage, plus has a 50% bonus AD ratio, so it scales pretty good. Now the right punch, if you go look at the wiki, I'm sure some of you will actually go look at the wiki, but when you go look at the wiki, you can see that his right punch comes out 800% faster. That means that technically he actually has a higher attack speed than you would think. A lot of people don't know that. They think that he's just got the normal attack speed. No. Actually, it's because his right punch comes out faster, he actually punches and attacks faster than a normal champion would. So at any rate, at level 1, you're going to want to get your E, because you have that passive to do damage, and it does pretty much damage. Stunning people is a pretty good play. Now, I'm just going to run over here, because you can see with your E, let me do this real quick. You stun an enemy champion when you have one unit on both sides. So let's say if I was in the minion wave, if I chased an opposing champion, like let's say they're here and I run over here, well, you can actually just stun them here and then you beat the crap out of them. Now remember, you want to keep moving as you attack. Set needs to be very mobile as a champion. So anyway, then at level 2 you're gonna go Q, so you go E into Q, and then at level 3 you'll finally grab that W. Now obviously you can mix this up a little bit, but that's your general build order: E into Q into W. Now from here, contrary to what a lot of you do, you're gonna max Q second and then W third. Some of you are maxing W second and then E third. I don't understand what you're doing. If I'm gonna be honest, his Q gets a cooldown reduced substantially from 9 to 5, and the AD ratio goes up per rank. At rank 1, you're getting 100% of your AD would equal 1% health damage. 100% AD would be 1% health damage. When you max it, 100% AD equals 3% health damage. So the AD ratio triples by maxing this ability. In addition to getting more base damage on it. Kitty is yelling at me. I'm just gonna grab her here. So, okay, Kitty is now part of this. Kitty, stop. Anyway, so yeah, that's generally it for Set. Now, let's look at Blade of the Ruined King, because some of you guys want to understand why Blade of the Ruined King isn't good on Set anymore. And I'll actually just show it like this. Despite Blade of the Ruined King being buffed to 12% health damage, and it's an option right now. It's an option. Don't build it every time, but it is an option. Actually, I'm gonna be honest, you guys want to hear a funny story? Whenever I upload these videos to YouTube, it literally can't find time for an ad break. So I've had to start going in and manually doing ad breaks because I just talk throughout the video the whole time, seamlessly going through over and over. So YouTube can't find time for ad breaks. Anyway, so Blade of the Ruined King's back to 12% health damage. Some of you have said, okay, well, why is it not good on Set then? It used to be 12%, it was good on him, now it's 12% again. Why is it not good on him? Because there was something about Blade of the Ruined King when it was 2 seasons ago it could do. You see how it is currently, if you attack an enemy 3 times, you get the movement speed steal? That's not really that good for Set. It's good if you can reach people, but if you can't reach them, then that doesn't really help you. Blade of the Ruined King used to have that on an active, meaning Set, who's this melee champion without much mobility, could run up, and I mean, I can't literally show you because it doesn't do that anymore. You could just press Blade of the Ruined King on someone, which then let you run at them really fast. It doesn't do that anymore. That makes it weaker for him. You have to stun people, and then once they're in range, then you get the Blade of the Ruined King, which makes it something of a win more combo. The second problem, and let me go back to the fountain here, is Blade of the Ruined King. If I could show you real quickly, it doesn't give you any health, so your Starix gauge is going to be weak. It doesn't give you any health, so your W is going to be weak. Here we can see my W is a max of 813 damage, but if I sold this Blade of the Ruined King and I bought Titanic Hydra, my W would have a max of 994 damage. Now, 994 damage here versus 714. Am I really reading that right? Damn, that's a big difference. Yeah, so you get 270 more true damage on your W. In a team fight situation, or even in a 1v1, the ability to explode somebody with a big nuke is a pretty good deal. Okay, I realized after making my video, I literally forgot to go over the rest of his items. So we're gonna quick go over that now. So obviously you got his 1, 2, 3 build. Everybody got that right? Gore Drinker, Starax, and Titanic Hydra. Now, you can go Titanic Hydra second, or you can go Starax second. It depends on the game and what you're doing, right? When you look at boots, obviously you're gonna go whatever boots you need to go, right? Now, for his last 2 items, the ones I would probably recommend are a Thornmail Force of Nature combo. Thornmail gives you armor, Force of Nature gives you movement speed and hella magic damage reduction. Some people make the argument that, oh, you don't want to build resistances because that makes it harder to stack your W. You could build full tank and you will still lose half your health bar in 2 seconds, okay? So don't worry about that. Force of Nature is extremely powerful. It gives you hella movement speed. If you're fighting magic damage, this item is really, really good at giving you movement speed in team fights. Thornmail, because he's, well, you know, everyone wants a healing debuff. So those are the rest of his items. Now, from there, you can also do some funky things. I have seen Spirit Visage. I've seen some Death Stance that's, once again, I mean, you can kind of slot in like a Blade of the Ruined King here and a Deadman's, but I find Deadman's a really weak item, and Blade of the Ruined King is okay. I mean, we can see, yeah, I mean, all of these, but the ones I showed you, Force of Nature and Thornmail, those are pretty good. But again, you can make it your own. Do what you feel is most comfortable. Do what you feel is the best. Now, let's talk about his W, because a lot of you guys are using his W wrong. You don't just do this. Don't just do this, where you just W, like, oh, I have grit, and then you just W. You know what your enemy's gonna do during this giant cast time? they're gonna walk away from it. Now, okay, sometimes they don't. And in fact, a lot of times they don't. And in fact, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people don't even know that they can just walk right out of it, which is weird. But if you're fighting smart people, you want to at least E into W, because your E will at the very least slow them by 50% for 0.5 seconds. Now this one casts for, ooh, what is this? I think it's a 0.75 second cast. Anyway, they'll be slowed for the majority, so you'll be able to E into W, and that'll handle them. Ideally, you would E stun them into W, because they're going to be stunned for 1 second, which means even with tenacity, they'll take it. Alternatively, you can ult into a W. If you're like me, you always do it backwards. So if you're fighting Set, here's what he does. Set will always go to the opposite side of whatever he ults. So in this situation, he's going to go to the opposite side so you can W here. Because in this situation, he's going to the opposite side, you W here. If you're fighting Set or you're playing as Set, do know to do that. And if you're like me, forget to do it every single time. So he's always going to roll over you at the end. Remember that, okay? And that's basically Set. I could go over his kit and some generic combos and stuff like that, but I mean, that's basically it. One thing to do, and I don't know if you guys know how to do this, because his right hook comes out faster, if you do a right hook into your Q, you do hella damage, because you skip that long cast time for your left click, and you get right back to that juicy right click. So you can do a 1-2, 1-2 combo pretty fast, and do a good chunk of damage. But realistically, it's pretty rare that you can do that, because you're often going to use your Q to get into range, or you're just going to try to burst people down with your Q combo. So, I mean, if I just want to show you here with these 3 items I've built, his Q, if you didn't max it, would only be doing, what would that be? Low, much lower, like 3% health damage per hit. Right now it's doing 9% health damage per hit. Good chunk more. That's a chunk of more damage. So yes, max your Q first. You wouldn't believe the amount of times that I actually think I win a game because other people just play poorly, or other people just aren't, not even play poorly, build poorly, rune poorly, do things improperly. You can win a lot more games if you just build properly, use the right runes, use the right items. Your character will be stronger. Even if you're the worst player, you'll end up doing better just because your character will be stronger. And let's be clear, yeah, you're probably the better player if you know how to build better anyway. So that's it for Set, and that's it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you all enjoy watching or talking or doing any of that stuff. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Make sure to look at the link in the description and the link. Look at the description and the link. You can join my Patreon for as low as $3. You can support me in these videos immensely, and I would thank you a lot. So thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you to everybody else. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.